Hello, I'm Deb Knight. Welcome to A Current Affair. Coming up, the ex-Trump official who wants the former president to stay away from the White House.
I actually think he's the most un-American presidential candidate in the modern era.
Plus, they might have your likes, but is it enough to get them over the line on Election Day?
Push it.
But first tonight, lush paddocks and emerald-coloured grass gives you the impression farmers like Amanda and Roger are making hay while the sun shines. But that could not be further from the truth as they battle through an eternal green drought.
Grass looks nice and green, Roger.
Yep.
What happens when you stick the shovel in it?
Well, I won't get the shovel in, it's that dry. It's just really hard, crumbly underneath, you just can't get it in.
What a city bloke have a go, mate.
Yeah, you'll have no hope.
Jeez, that is hard, isn't it?
They're the pretty paddocks that hide a terrible truth, the green drought.
Roger, what is a green drought?
So, green drought, green grass, no moisture, empty dams. Without moisture, you can't grow grass. It just won't grow.
Roger and Amanda Heath run 600 dairy cows. Drive past their 300-hectare farm in southwest Victoria and you'd never know it hasn't rained in ages.
To the city people who drive past and see all the green fields and paddocks, what do you say?
Oh, they just don't understand. Like, they just come down and they say, "What's green? How are you in drought?"
This time of year, this soil should be mud. Have a look at that. 2 years ago, it was so very different. 2 years ago, you had floods here.
We did, yep. To this day, we were underwater. That's just how ironic, but now we're talking about drought.
We just haven't got enough grass to feed the cows when we need it.
A couple of country miles away, Lockie Sutherland is feeling the pinch too.
We have to feed our cows, so there's two options, sell some cows or buy fodder in. A cow needs fibre and needs a full stomach to function.
And if the cow doesn't have a full stomach to function?
They lose weight, and perish.
What a lousy equation it is for farmers around here. Rainfall is down dramatically, productivity is down, the price of milk is down, but the cost of feed is up. The farmers simply can't win. All they can do is hang on for dear life. How much does it cost you to produce a litre of milk?
About 62 cents a litre at the moment.
And how much do you get for it?
64.
There's not much of a margin there.
No, that's this year in particular. So things are very tight, very skinny.
It's not just tight over at Roger and Amanda's. On the farm with no rain, they're drowning in debt. Mortgage alone.
2.5 million.
At what?
It's 8.05%.
8%, that's high.
Yep.
And that's hard to service, yeah?
Yep. Yeah, well, when your interest alone's 16 or 17,000, that's before any principal.
16,000, 17,000 per what month?
Per month. And then that's before any principal. That's getting harder to service that every day.
Then, every 25 days, stock feed arrives, $13,000 a time. Roger and Amanda haven't drawn a wage since January. And just to put food on the table, Roger works 2 other jobs.
So if you could think of one word to describe your situation at the moment, what would that word be?
Devastating.
This is Roger's main dam that should be servicing 90% of the farm. The water you can see down there should be over my head. What you can't see is unusable, only good for ducks.
And how's this for a metric? Roger's cost of producing milk is 80 cents a litre, but he's getting 60 cents a litre. The milk cheque that was $130,000 a month, now $90,000 a month.
Every day you work the farm...
No, I'm working for nothing.
You're not working for nothing, you're losing money.
Yep.
It's like me coming to work for Channel 9 and I'm paying them to work.
Correct.
Instead of them paying me.
Yep.
That sucks.
That's what I'm doing. Yeah, it does suck. Sucks big time.
Already the couple has sold 120 cows, and it hurts because they love them.
Yeah, it's very challenging. It's, farm's been in my family 100 years, and
Your great-grandfather?
Great-grandmother and my grandfather and grandmother and my parents and my kids now, and we've never seen anything like it, ever.
Would you say you're living on borrowed time?
Yeah, well, that's the way we feel at the moment, yes.
This farm means everything to me and my family, so just to lose it would be devastating.
How long do you think you can last?
Oh, we'll get to Christmas. We're just taking every day as it comes.
I can't even explain in words what it's like. Leaving my animals behind and walking away would just be, I don't know, devastating.
Do you shed a tear over it all?
Yep.
Where do you do that? Go out in the barn? Go out in the barn?
Well, I sort of tried to stay away from doing that because that doesn't fix everything, but...
But it's a human emotion, mate. You're human.
Yeah, it is, and you're sitting up the paddock in the car or the ute or whatever, and you're just looking at your cows and that sort of thing, and get quite emotional about it. Then worrying about what the future is for them and for us. So.
Roger told me before he'll sometimes go out in the paddock in the car and have a bit of a cry.
Yeah.
Do you know that?
That's probably right. We know I don't let him be alone too much, and if he's gone for too long from where I don't know where he is, I'm always ringing him, making sure that he's okay and stuff like that.
What would you say to the people in the cities?
Oh, I think maybe when you go to the fridge in the morning and get the milk out, think of blokes like me. Think about what went into making that milk, and think about blokes like me that get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and head to the dairy and milk. You know, it costs a lot goes into making that milk.
I hope it rains like hell for you up until Christmas.
So do we.
Yeah, and don't we all? I'd never even heard of a green drought, and we can only hope that those weather gods answer their prayers, and soon. No one has felt the clout of Donald Trump's famous catch cry, "You're fired," more than Anthony Scaramucci. Hired as the White House communications director, the mooch, as he's known, lasted just 10 days before being shown the door. Now, the former Wall Street financier is turning the tables on the controversial US presidential candidate.
He was the fast-talking, aviator-wearing Italian New Yorker, the mooch, Anthony Scaramucci, stepping from Wall Street to the world stage in 2017 as a fresh character in the Trump show, the president's flashy director of communications. It started out as a love story.
I love the president. I love the president.
But just 11 days later,
You're fired.
the relationship soured. Anthony Scaramucci was fired. He had held just one press conference. Once friend, now foe, Anthony Scaramucci still has his finger on the pulse in Washington. He's a Republican, but having seen it from the inside, is now on a mission to stop Donald Trump moving back in to the White House.
So, Anthony Scaramucci, welcome to A Current Affair.
It's good to be here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Now, you were a Trump guy, and you were quite loyal even after he fired you. Tell us why you've changed. Why you're the anti-Trump guy now.
Well, I think he's the most un-American presidential candidate in the modern era in terms of the idealism of what America represents. I was with him because I thought he was going to be a Republican president, but what he actually did was he hijacked that party and turned it into Trumpism, which is sort of this, it's sort of a bizarre set of policies, actually.
Mm. You're still a Republican, but
I am.
You would like to see Kamala Harris win this election.
Well, I stand alongside of Republicans. There's probably 40 of us that work for President Trump that are explaining the danger of him. And I would say this rhetorically, and I'd ask you to think about this. If I had worked at a pharmaceutical company with 40 people and we watched a pill get manufactured, and we said, okay, this pill, if you give it to your children, is going to kill your children. Would you give it to your children? I mean, most people wouldn't. So it's weird about politics. You know, you're expressing the danger.
So you see it as doing a service for your country?
Yeah, well, it's very costly. You know, I get death threats. I get all types of hate screeds, either written to me on social media or mailed to my house. And I have a business, and so you know, Michael Jordan once said that they said, "Are you a Democrat or a Republican?" And he said, "Well, they both buy sneakers." You know, his point was that he was staying out of politics. It's probably easier for business people to stay out of politics.
So you've described Donald Trump as an orange wrecking ball, an incredibly dangerous guy, boring, getting old, racist, a bully, and off his rocker. Donald Trump has described you as a nut job, a mental wreck, and you got fired for gross incompetence. How do you really feel about each other?
It's like New Yorkers, like fighting. It's like, sounds like an Italian dinner table in New York somewhere. It doesn't bother me what he says about me.
Yeah.
And it probably doesn't bother him what I say about him. But you know, in addition to saying those things which are a little melodramatic, I've tried to bring some rationality, and I've tried to make a case, a prosecution, if you will, against what he's really like.
And you're a charismatic guy. When you were working for Trump, you know, we knew you as the mooch. You had the mirrored aviators, and you know, there was a lot of attention on you, and you were one of the characters in the.
Yeah, that probably cost me my job, though. Actually, I
that's
think,
what I was going to ask. Do you think that's why you got fired?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think my press conference, I only had one of them. It was the first day I arrived. I think that unnerved Trump, actually.
Better now? Better now? I'm going to start over.
He is a one-man show, and he is a team of one. You know, if he calls you President so-and-so, or he says to you, "Hey, you're getting more famous than me," it's like time to book a trip to Antarctica and try to hide from him.
In your podcast, you talk about America and America.
So just to be clear, I didn't invent that. That's exactly how the sociologists talk about it. So America is sort of the coastal cities. It's sort of, there's a packed inside that word for this sociological description is some of the elitism. And so when someone says America, it is, you know, it is the country music, it's the NASCAR, it's the hot dogs, it's the beer and Chevrolet, it's the sort of the center of the country that doesn't like the fanciful East Coasters or the West Coasters. Mr. Trump understands those people, and I think you have to give him credit for that.
The polls are tight. The polls are very tight. How tight is this election going to be, or do you see a breakout?
So I see a breakout. I think you'll see the narratives of these two campaigns forming, and, you know, one is unifying, one is a message of hope and prosperity. The other message is a grievance message. And I don't think the majority of the American public wants a grievance message.
There is a cost of living crisis in the US, as there is in Australia. People are struggling to pay their mortgages, put food on the table. Can hope and good vibes get those people onto the Harris camp, or do we need a tougher economic policy from her?
No, it won't be enough. But again, she has the base elements of a good economic policy. And so if she can get that narrative out there, the next 4 years could be way better than the last 4 years.
American politics is very much about personality, more so than Australia. Is it more about personality than policy? And what
you
does...
have dull people in your politics, is that what you're saying?
I don't want to say anything about our politicians.
That's okay. I'm allowed to say it. I'm not Australian.
They're
dull, right?
a little duller, let's say that.
Yeah, I mean, we enjoyed dull for many years in our country. But
dull can be good. Dull can be good.
Yeah, no, dull could be really good.
What does that do to policy then, when it is about the personality?
Well, yeah, look, it's a great question, because you're asking the seminal question that we have to ask ourselves. We want to be entertained by these leaders. It's a popularity contest. It's a visual process. It's almost like, okay, who's ever going to win this thing is going to be in my living room with me every night, is going to be part of my dinner time conversation every single night. And so therefore I have to be entertained by these people, and they have to hold me captivated. And so it's a popularity contest as opposed to a hiring process. I think that's very dangerous. I would prefer more dull. That's the great irony of it. The Democrats in this administration can say, hey, we heard the message, and so we responded with great policy, but for some reason they haven't done a good job of articulating that.
What does Donald Trump think of Australia?
I think he understands that we have strategic interests in this area. He'll want to revoke NATO. He said that openly. He'll provide space for Vladimir Putin. If there's a negotiated settlement in the Ukraine, it would be way worse under Donald Trump. People say that some people think he's more friendly to Israel, but I just remind people he's the most transactional person that you'll ever meet. And so if it serves his interest to be friendly with Israel, he'll do that. If it serves his interest to not be friendly with Israel, he'll also do that. Somebody like Vice President Harris would be a better friend to Australia because she understands the national security issues that are tied to the West, Australia, what we need to do in the Indo-Pacific region to make our countries prosperous, and the notion that people wouldn't fear her and all this sort of nonsense, all of this hyper-masculinity that Trump represents is a bunch of nonsense.
Would you take a job with Kamala Harris if she becomes president?
Actually, just for one day, okay? If I can just get one day in the White House, it would be an even dozen for me. I think I'm done with all that, actually. But, yeah, I would tell the Harris team, and people get mad at me when I say it anyway, her lighting was bad on that CNN interview. I said that on my podcast. You're a television person. You know lighting is everything in TV. And I would recommend to her comms team, people that were in television, when she's sitting for interviews, make sure her lighting is right.
Yeah, you can.
Is my lighting right?
You look
I'm just
amazing.
Checking with you, okay?
I cannot see a wrinkle on your face.
Well, there's a lot of Botox on my face. I didn't give up. I don't wear a girdle, but I do have a lot of Botox on my face.
Have you still got the aviators?
I do, yeah. My wife doesn't like them, by the way, so I don't wear them as much. I have different style.
Anthony Scaramucci, thank you for your time.
Good to be here. Thank you.
Oh, he sure is honest. And one thing is for sure, Donald Trump sure is a fighter. So it's going to be a fascinating showdown at the US election now in just 11 days' time. Up next, from cooking videos to gym routines, why politicians are suddenly acting like influencers.
Silent night, holy night.
Welcome back. Have you ever wondered what your local MP has for breakfast? What about your Premier's favourite exercise at the gym? Well, if you're anything like me, the answer is absolutely not. But that has not stopped our politicians getting personal on TikTok, trying to win your likes and your votes.
What are we driving?
Politicians campaigning like never before, right in the palm of your hand.
I'm a senator. Of course I can drive a forklift.
Silent night, holy night.
It's the great TikTok takeover, and it's showing political prowess that we don't often see.
What's your favourite home-cooked meal?
Oh, pasta.
And they both challenged me to do the 100-kilo bench challenge.
The videos are often raw, sometimes staged, but most importantly, personal.
I love you so much, Papa. We fight, we win.
Right now, the race to the White House is in part consumed by social media popularity.
I'm looking for a job, and I've always wanted to work at McDonald's.
Hello, everybody.
There's stunts and behind the scenes, all to woo undecided voters.
Come.
There is an opportunity to speak directly in a very fun and engaging way with a wide range of people.
Dr. Susan Grantham is from Griffith University. She's an expert on how TikTok is being used in political campaigns.
When someone has a TikTok account, we can feel connected to them, and we see it in celebrity.
It's about personal politics, making us feel like we're mates with who we're voting for, being able to interact with the candidates. And it's not just for the younger voters. There's TikTokers of all ages, often people who don't use traditional sources of information.
So the fact that this is opening up doors for people who would otherwise not be engaging in this political content, for them to find out more than they otherwise would, is really, really important.
Thanks for coming to my Sunday sesh here at Bowls Club.
On home soil, the personal politics have been in full swing. Tomorrow, Queenslanders will go to the polls, Labor's Stephen Miles versus the Liberal National Party's David Crisafulli.
We're the right plan for Queensland's future.
They're both dads and they both want to be Premier, using their TikToks to share their policies and take aim at each other.
Stephen Miles, who wants to tax you to go and see your doctor.
I've been helping to prepare some of the meals that we'll provide to our primary school students.
The irony in the Chinese-owned TikTok boom is that governments are banning the platform left, right and centre. The Commonwealth and every state and territory has barred it from government-owned devices over security concerns, so politicians must source other phones to use. In America, it's being banned from 2025.
I'm going to save TikTok.
And it can be a slippery slope. The more you watch, the more TikTok will give you.
So if you find that your algorithm is pushing you down a particular path, actively force it to take the other side as well, so that you're getting that balanced view.
As entertaining and addictive as scrolling can be, it comes with this word of warning.
Take it with a grain of salt, but make sure that you are engaging and learning and critically questioning everything that you see.
With the weight of voters on their shoulders,
Push it.
will TikTok deliver victory? Drum roll, please. Only time will tell.
Wow, who knew they had so many hobbies? But let's hope whoever wins, they knuckle down on the important job at hand. More work, less TikTok, please. Coming up, baby Aluna can't leave mum's side. So what happens when Coldplay comes to town?
I was shocked because she's an 8-month-old baby and I just thought it was absolute madness.
Next week, nobody puts baby in the corner.
Baby likes to boogie. But should little Aluna pay full price to see Coldplay?
I just thought it was absolute madness.
Why should Mum Alyssa have all the fun?
Why can't you leave baby Aluna home for the night?
So...
Stonewalled.
I don't know that you'd see that on the brochure.
Too close for Nick's comfort.
This is the width that we thought we were getting. I'll show you how much we actually have now. About 20 mil.
Who signed off on this?
It's just stupidity.
It's stupidity that has to be seen to be believed.
Don't miss those stories next week. And before we go, a reminder, some of our best stories come from you. So if there's an issue you think we should know about, send us an email. The address is on your screen now. And that's our program. I'm Deb Knight. Thanks for your company. From the team, enjoy your evening. Good night.